Labour issues between the CWU and the South African Post Office. For the latest, let's go now live to the media conference in Braamfontein.
Warehouses, stores and repair centers. The MTN management has been making commitments months after months when meeting with CWU. We're told that several meetings with the board have been discussed this matter to the latter. However, we then started persuading the management of MTN. They then took a U-turn. From their commitment. They wanted to embark on a process to outsource the call centers and drastically reduce labor brokers. This is done firstly by terminating contracts of employment with workers employed under labor brokers. This is to make sure that this is a sustainable transition for their business associate who stands to be the major beneficiaries in the outsourcing transaction. We are reliably informed that these businesses associates indicates that they could not absorb the current labor force with their current benefits and therefore contingent plans to circumvent the laws of the country, to undermine the laws of the country in general. In this instance, MTN is not only undermining the legal standing agreement with labor, but it also undermined the labor law. In January 2015, a law was passed that says any employee employed for more than 3 months and more effectively a permanent of the said company and therefore qualifies for equal benefits with equal salary with their counterparts. On the 30th of June 2016, we are shocked to learn that whilst we were in discussions of finalizing the conversion of casual workers to permanent employment, letters to terminate contracts of employment were issued to 61 workers in Midrand MTN warehouse without any consultation. We are very much aware that this is a tip of an iceberg. And their broader plans is to throw the hundreds of workers into the street. Here we are talking of workers who had served this company with loyalty for the past 10 to 15 years. This was actually a time to reward them with their basic rights, permanent employment, but instead the greedy capitalist opted to project its profit. We had then filed an urgent application to CCMA in defense of these jobs. In the high-volume repair center, MTN management ignored their own procurement policy by offering non-existent tenders to undue bidders who offered no business services to MTN but continued to milk MTN without lifting any finger. Namely the Hui Tuta Trading, Atlantis Trading, Impilo Flat, and Upstream Trading. The beneficiaries of these devious companies are highly connected to some managers of MTN. We requested MTN management to investigate this allegation. However, that proved to be futile exercise. What is strange is that MTN was prepared to protect Hui Tuta Trading after its own investigation has established that it had failed to adhere with the MTN policies by not paying SARS and UIF. This leaves us with no option but to conclude that the current MTN management is not different to the one that was led by the ex-CEO Farouk, which has elements of union bashing, flooded with maladministration and total disregard to the laws of the land. We want to warn MTN that the 2015 strike will look like a walk in the park if they keep on undermining the agreement with labor. We therefore move to issues of South African Post Office. The recent National Executive Committee of CWU notes the progress made thus far in this company. We are excited by the current negotiation processes. We have reached a milestone in terms of the areas of agreement in negotiation processes. This is a historic because it has almost a decade of a long labor turmoil in the South African Post Office. However, we must indicate that negotiations with African National Congress are still ongoing to finalize the issues of state using SAPO as their sole state entity to provide service on courier, freight, and postal, to review ICASA policies and address questions of financial injection and to settle debts. Thus far, we have agreement with the following issues. 2014-2015, all the qualifying bargaining unit employees will be paid once-off taxable and non-pensionable back pay in a full 8 months. General increase on salaries, 2016-2017, across the board, increase will be at 6.5% on actual basic salary, total cost to company effectively from the 1st of April 2016, which means it's another big date for our workers. On permanization, the current casual workers, as the date of the signing of this agreement, will still be employed of SAPO on conversion that the date shall be converted to permanent full-time effectively from the 1st of August. A pool of casual workers shall be converted to what we call permanent part-timers effectively from the 1st of August 2016. They shall work a guarantee 21.5 hours per week, can extend hours where operation require until 42 hours, where often overtime shall be paid. SAPO shall convert 900 casual workers employee, respect of whom permanization employed contracts has been issued, to permanent full-time effectively from 1st of August. Now coming to what many of you basically maybe are here for. On the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Our take as Communication Workers Union is not to look into the question of SABC in isolation. We had then taken a broader look into the media industry, including but not limited to broadcasting and print media. CWU is actively involved in programs that seeks to defend and promote free press and secure quality jobs in the environment. We find it strange and very hypocritical of some of the sections of media where their campaign and interest of journalists in general seems to be effective and active only when it comes to public broadcasting, and very liberal when it comes to a large foreign and white monopoly capital-owned media institutions. In recent time, there were stories about journalists, news anchors, being barred from air because of their African accent. Journalist stories being censored because the reporters were wearing what we call African duke. We have just witnessed 5 workers and 9 workers, including journalists, being expelled because of their employer wanted to impose a politician on them. As CWU, we staged a protest in a number of media institutions about the rights of journalists. There is a high moral grounded anti-censorship grouping and free press, and when I say high moral grounded, with inverted commas. And the free press never raised their fingers, nor did they comment about these white monopoly capital media institutions censored stories about journalists being oppressed at workplace. We are not particularly surprised by the DA hype around this matter, because it represents the interest of the white monopoly capital, and indeed it is the party, and that is apartheid apologist. On the other side, the ANC is found wanting because it fears white monopoly capital. It seems to be dancing to the tune of white monopoly capital. We must not allow captains of the industry to dictate terms to us on what should be happening in this industry. We need to speed up the transformation agenda without any apology. We'd like to also respond to the issue of Jimmy Matthews. On the 9th of February 2016, we met with the Minister Faith Mutambi and all SOEs under her department. This was after we launched a complaint about the minister. SABC and other SOEs under her wings. In that meeting, the SABC team was led by Jimmy Matthews. and they were prepared to defend everything that SABC was doing. They even requested to be excused because they felt that issues that were raised were not implicating them directly. The question that arises is that at what point did Jimmy Matthews' morality surfaced and morality ground resurrected? We cannot agree nor promote cowardice of people who keeps quiet whilst they are at a helm and wanting to lobby sympathy when they are outside. Neither will allow workers to be used for political and factional battles. We go to the issue of dismissed journalists at SABC. Our union is operative at South African Broadcasting Corporation, including other two unions. As we have done with the 100+ workers who were dismissed for medical aid issues, we take up their cases and defend them, be our members and non-members. For as long as workers need our assistance, we'll do assist. We are consciously to do so because it's our responsibility as a trade union movement, as our primary objective to defend jobs. However, the practice is that workers will approach our shop stewards or approach our offices for assistance. To be precise, workers at SABC, workers at FABC, they normally do that. At SABC, in this regard, we have never approached by any worker or the said workers who have been dismissed. If the 3 dismissed workers decide to elect CWU to represent them, they will approach us and will deal with that matter as they do so. For now, we are not aware of actual charges that they are dismissed for, besides what they widely reported by the media in general. So we want to clear that we can defend jobs, but as long as people approach us to defend them. If they choose to go to political parties to defend what is a labor matter, it's unfortunate. On the issue of censorship, CW will always be against any censorship by any persons or institution. Will always continue to fight for freedom of press. We oppose decisions to censor news, in particular the latest announcement on the public protest and violence. Since we are a majority union in SABC, we need not to scream but approach the SABC management, and the following was explained to us. In other words, we did not to stand on the highest mountain and scream that there's something wrong happening at SABC. We went to the SABC management around this matter, and the following was explained to us. News of service delivery protest will be aired and broadcasted on television. However, not scenes of burning of schools and other public properties. This was part of the public protester to discourage individuals from destroying the public institutions just to appear on TV. However, TV crew will record all the footage but not broadcast such footage on the news. We had then had a discussion with our own shop steward at the SABC, and they've told us that there are people marching to SABC demanding that their protest in one way or the other must be televised. This was the background of such a decision. Though CWU is not entirely happy, however, comforted with the fact that there's no back out on the news with regards to the public protesters. Hence, we are meeting the SABC and the minister on the date to be announced, but we'll be sitting at that particular meeting next week. On Hlaudi, you'll note that I did not say Mr. Hlaudi. We as CW had openly criticized the COO of SABC. Even at the time when everyone was quiet, during his live broadcast of his disciplinary hearing. And we commend the SABC for swiftly resolving the salary negotiation and signing of the moratorium on retirements and retrenchment, and also the issue of 90% local content on TV and radio stations. However, we find it strange that Hlaudi has now become a target of everyone who wants to get airtime and media coverage and get public audience. If needed, he possesses such powers he has been alleged to have. Where is his executive and where is his board sitting? Like we did in the South African Post Office, when we had serious problems with the one general manager who possessed unlimited powers, we targeted the board and the executive. Therefore, if indeed such allegations are true, we therefore must agree that we do not have a board, nor do we have executive at SABC. We therefore need to challenge the board of SABC with regards to that. We believe that such hype is created around SABC and Hlaudi is because of his stance about the 90% local content. Many companies, including but not limited to the production companies and collection society, were the beneficiaries of huge profits based on their relationships with the internationalist companies. We are aware that there is an agenda to commercialize SABC 3, TV3, and Radio 2000 in the interest of profit. We know that millions of rands were leaving the country and subjecting our musicians and actors and other performers to squalors of poverty. This brings us to the end of the media briefing with regards to MTN, South African Post Office, and SABC and the media institution in general. At the end of this briefing, we'll be giving you our, not the one that you have now, our media briefing that will be officially handed to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will allow you to pose questions. No? And as and when you do that, we request that you introduce yourself and the media house you come from. We are going to have 3 rounds of questions. The first 2 are for questions. The last one is for clarity-seeking questions. After, of course, the leadership would have responded. Thank you very much. You can ask your question.
No question, it means everyone is covered here. Very happy.
Okay.